Now we got the starter done on the Dodge. Gonna work on getting the grill back in here and getting the mounts for the backhoe all done up. Basically gotta grind those up and clean them up, weld them on there, and then finish welding up that. It's partially welded. It needs larger welds before it starts doing any digging, but it's good enough for test fitting. I gotta take those pins out. I'm gonna move them over into here, use that to help keep them square as they get heated and such. And then I'm having to decide if I want to just hold them up there and do it, or I'm thinking about putting the pins in there, mounting them on the back of the Dozer, and then positioning that up against it using the boom and the legs, and then give it a decent weld from there, and then, you know, unhook it and fully weld it. I don't know. Got some time to think about it while grinding those and getting the pins out and letting that metal get all warmed up. Alright, in order to try and get this as square as possible, I'm going to put the brackets on here and then back the Dozer up to it and use the hydraulics to set this up and get it all measured and squared away, and then start welding it on. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the bracket on. weld it on. Not the prettiest welds, but it'll work. And then I just put a bunch of weld between the two heavier pieces of plate. Thought about cutting some 1-inch plate and then welding it in there, but I didn't have enough oxyacetylene, so I just started at the bottom, put a little plate in to help keep the weld from falling out, and just stacked weld all the way through there. So should be pretty solid. And then got all the weld filled in the crack on that. The top I did flat on a bench, but it kept warping, so the rest of them I did vertical on here, which are not as pretty, but they work. Got the dozer off the trailer and on the trail. Got my transportation hooked up. Trying to balance out the weight from the backhoe. Hopefully the sled will help keep the nose a little heavier. We're gonna see how it goes. Alright, dozer's back in the shop. Trying to take it out to the cabin, and one of these QDs came disconnected. I'm not sure how exactly, maybe from the snow getting up in between there. And when it did, it caused pressure to build up until it blew out the seal between the valve bodies here, and had no luck finding a seal because it's so old. Cat couldn't even really, they couldn't find any. So I got a $300 eBay backhoe valve body, as they call it. It's 21 gallons per minute, so that's less than my hydraulic pump can do, so it should be good, even though it's smaller than that one by quite a bit. Had to use the forklift to pull that one out because it weighed so much in a tight area. So now I just got to get some fittings. This is only fitting from the old one that actually goes back into this one, so I got to get fittings for all these. And then get it mounted up in there. I'm going to wait to do mount holes and stuff until I get some fittings on there and can get some of these lines hooked up, in theory, because I don't want to mount it too high and have to wrestle these hard lines. So I'm hoping to just get the lines hooked up and be able to get the holes drilled for the new mounts, because it won't go in the old ones. And then to get it out to the cabin, because it won't go across the snow with the backhoe on it. It's too heavy on the back. We're gonna disassemble the backhoe. We'll take the stick off, and then might even take the boom off. Basically, my plan is that forklift can lift 2,000 pounds. And I've hauled stuff out on the freight sled before that weighs, I don't know, we did the math on it. It was about 3,300 pounds. It was 30 some odd sheets of, I think, 1/2 inch plywood. So if we take the stick off and then I can pick that up with the forklift, then it's light enough I can freight it out there. So if I can't pick it up, then we'll have to take the boom off too. But I'd prefer not to take the boom off because that's a lot harder to get hooked up out there than the stick. If I can take that section, the boom and the outrigger section out there, it'll be pretty easy to get it on the dozer, and then I'll be able to maneuver it to get the other pins in for the other part. But we'll see on that one. First I gotta get this valve body all fixed up, and then I'll take the dozer out there all by itself, and then hopefully freight all the rest of this out.